the chains they forged. Earth, 300 years ago. They didn't come in peace. The sky tore open above Earth, not with greetings or gifts, but with the thrum of planetary siege engines and the cold blue light of artificial gravity wells. Cities blinked out under pinpoint orbital strikes. Entire defense grids were silenced before the first global broadcast. Then came the message, translated into 100 human tongues, but carrying one message. You're deemed unfit, violent, primitive. The Galactic Council has spoken. You are hereby subjugated for the safety of civilized space. The face on the broadcast was alien, long-limbed, crystalline eyes, robed in gold. Vorlon, first among the emperors. He spoke of peace as his fleets sterilized continents. On the plains of Kenya, they rounded up survivors. In Shanghai, they made slaves dig the graves of their cities. In Buenos Aires, the last human general detonated a thermonuclear core to deny them one more victory. They called us savages, as if we were the monsters, as if they didn't arrive with guns in our skies and shackles in their holds. I remember that day. I was 13, watching from the ruins of what used to be Manhattan. I watched the United Nations Tower fall, its blue flags trampled under six-legged machines. I watched my father taken for questioning. He never came back. I watched my mother spit in the face of a Krek overseer before they burned her alive. My name is Elias Ward. I was born on Earth, and I swore in that moment, as smoke covered the sun, that I would never kneel. But most did. We were scattered like ash, herded onto ships, and divided across sectors. They turned humans into laborers, servants, cannon fodder. They banned our languages, burned our books, dissected our thinkers. We were not to be remembered. We were to be replaced. They didn't understand. Humans don't forget, and we don't forgive. Even in the camps, we whispered. In the work pits of Zanaris, we taught children how to dismantle a plasma core using only scrap. On the moons of Urak, prisoners carved maps of star routes into their skin. On every world where they chained us, a seed of vengeance was planted. And we waited. We learned. For 3 centuries, they ruled over us. And now, they kneel. The chamber is cold. The floor beneath me is polished obsidian, cut from the ruins of Orthan Prime. Once the seat of their council, now the capital of the human ascendancy. The former emperor of the Vorlon is dragged before me. His robes are torn, one arm missing, replaced with a crude cybernetic. He stares up at me with bloodless eyes, still struggling to understand how this could have happened. I rise from my throne. My voice echoes across the chamber. Do you remember your words? I ask him. He doesn't reply. I lean closer. You called us savages. Then I gesture to the guards. Kneel. And he does. We learned war from the masters. Zeroth, 110 years after Earth's fall. The sun here never rises. Zeroth, 9 is a mining moon wrapped in perpetual twilight, its skies veined with ash and its surface hollowed by generations of slave labor. The air tastes like iron and decay. The Krek built it that way. Harsh, hopeless, a place to bury defiance. But they made one mistake. They sent humans here. I was born in Sector 12, buried 6 kilometers beneath the surface. My earliest memory is the sound of drills screaming through rock and the burn of shot collar every time I slowed down. My name is Saria Velasquez, and this hellhole taught me 3 things. Never cry, never trust, and never forget. I was 11 when the guards executed my parents for smuggling food. They made me watch, said it would break the wildness. Instead, I learned silence. I learned how to move without being seen, how to hide things in plain sight. I watched the Krek. I studied their tech, their patterns, their weaknesses, and I waited, because the truth is, we never stopped fighting. The resistance wasn't a myth, it was a web. Secret messages passed in old Earth lullabies. Coordinates hidden in the rhythm of mining drills. Agents posing as broken slaves, mapping supply routes, hacking consoles for maintenance ducts. They taught us nothing, and yet we learned everything. A handler once said to me, "Your species has no discipline, no patience, only rage." He was half right. By the time I was 17, I had memorized the base layout. I'd learned how to forge a correct identification tag. I knew which coolant pipe would rupture first if overloaded, and which corridors would flood with fire. When the signal came, 4 flashes of the reactor lights, I didn't hesitate. We started with the comms tower. 1 blast disabled outbound signals. Then came the armory. We overran the guard post in 30 seconds. We didn't have plasma rifles, just makeshift explosives and stolen drills. But we fought like demons. They called us animals. They had no idea what kind of animal we were. The correct commander tried to flee in his personal shuttle. I was the one who reached the launch pad first. He begged in that gurgling tongue of his. Said I was better than this. I shot him in the throat. We didn't just take the base. We took their secrets, navigation logs, troop deployments, encryption keys. I sent them all to the grid, where the old Earth networks had been quietly rebuilt in the dark. I became a ghost agent, operative Scorch, feeding the resistance everything I could. And across the stars, other humans were doing the same. On slave worlds, research stations, cargo fleets, we were rising, watching, learning, turning their empire into our playbook. They taught us war with shackles and whips. Now we wield it like a blade. Empire burns, 1 star at a time. Caloris Verge, 289 years after Earth's fall. They didn't expect us to come back with fleets. The Caloris Verge was supposed to be impenetrable, a tri-system fortress wrapped in asteroid belts, drone swarms, and graviton mines. It guarded the inner ring, where the nobles lived fat and smug in orbiting palaces. It was the shield of the Vorlon Empire. We shattered it in 8 hours. I stood on the bridge of the Vengeance Ascendant, humanity's first dreadnought-class warship built from stolen alien schematics, retrofitted with weapons they never dreamed we'd understand. My name still echoes across their military networks, Admiral Elias Ward, the last son of Earth. I gave the order with no hesitation. All ships, execute Red Protocol. Dozens of human warships, frigates, cruisers, Black Ops carriers, blinked in across the perimeter. The enemy scrambled, but we had already mapped every defense during our years in chains. We knew where their blind spots were. We knew how to spoof their targeting arrays. And most of all, we had Thanatos, an AI born in silence and vengeance. Coded in the ruined data cores beneath Old Geneva, Thanatos infected their command nets within minutes. Enemy ships turned on each other. Defense grids shot down friendly fighters. Admirals screamed into dead calms as their fleets collapsed from within. It wasn't just a battle. It was a message. Humanity was no longer hiding, no longer begging, no longer afraid. By the end of the day, Caloris burned. We broadcast the footage across every known sector. Vorlon ships drifting in flames, their noble commanders floating lifeless in shattered glass halls. We forced the broadcast into their entertainment networks, their trade hubs, even their religious shrines. The message was simple. We remember Earth. From there, the fire spread. One by one, worlds that had flown alien banners raised new ones. Black flags with a broken chain and the seal of a human ascendancy. Slave revolts flared like wildfires. Alien species once broken by centuries of oppression saw what we had done and followed. On Krek Theta, we liberated a breeding facility where human clones were grown for arena combat. We turned it into a training center for new soldiers. Their bodies were engineered by the enemy. Now they marched under our command. Saria Velasquez led a strike force to Glassreach, the Dominion's capital moon. She didn't negotiate. She detonated the planetary core reactor. The moon cracked in half. 8 billion dead. No mercy. No regrets. The empires that had ruled for millennia didn't understand. We weren't trying to conquer them. We were trying to end them. They made us students of war. Now we were teaching the final lesson. The emperors kneel. Wordhan Prime, present day. The chamber was built on the ruins of the old Galactic Council Hall, once a place of laws, diplomacy, and declarations of subjugation. Today, it serves a new purpose, judgment. I stand at the center of the tribunal floor, black banners hanging behind me, lit only by the cold light of a shattered dome overhead. Ash still falls from the upper spires, remnants of a city we obliterated when they refused to surrender. This is where they broke Earth. Now it's where we break them. The surviving emperors are dragged in, one by one, shackled, stripped of regalia, reduced to what they always were beneath the gilded masks. Cowards with too much power. Sathak of the gallery, cloaked in blood-soaked silk. Virox of the Krek, trembling, half-blind. And finally, what's left of Vorlon High Emperor Zelzar, his golden bones exposed beneath burned flesh, eyes still defiant. They kneel before us, not out of honor, not out of understanding, out of fear. Behind me stands Saria Velasquez, now general of the Ascendancy Ground Forces, decorated with scars instead of medals. She leans in, voice steady, amplified across every screen in the galaxy. You called us savages, beasts, vermin to be caged. You enslaved our children, silenced our languages, erased our home. And now you look up at us from your knees and ask for mercy. She pauses. The silence is surgical. We are not savages. We are what you made us. The room holds its breath. Cameras hover silently, broadcasting to billions across liberated worlds. Alien civilians, human descendants, freed species, all watching. History being carved in real time. I step forward slow, deliberate. I'm old now. My bones ache with every step, but I needed to see this with my own eyes. The vow I made in the ruins of New York ends here. I stare down at the Vorlon Emperor, the same face, older, broken, that declared Earth unworthy of existence centuries ago. You taught us chains, I say. We returned with fire. He doesn't speak. He can't. His tongue was severed by one of his own ministers to avoid interrogation. I turn to the tribunal clerk. Recorded. Let be known, the Galactic Council is dissolved. The human ascendancy assumes governance of all former territories. Those who serve the empires will stand trial. Those who were enslaved will choose their own path. And Earth is no longer silent. I raise the ascendancy seal and brand it into the scorched stone. The trial begins, and across the stars, the word spreads, carved into stone, etched into data, whispered in awe. The humans have won. Epilogue, a new dawn. 50 years later, children, human and alien, stand beneath a monument on Orton Prime. A massive black statue of a kneeling emperor, crowned in chains. A teacher asks, "Why do we kneel here?" A small girl, wide-eyed, replies, "Because they called us savages." She grins, and we showed them who we really are,